My girlfriend and her family didn't want me on their family vacation because her ex was going to be there, but I left her, and her life couldn't be more miserable. I'm 37 and have been dating this woman, let's call her Amelia, who is 32 for over 5 years and I've known her for 8. She worked at the company when we met at an office event, and we happened to work together for a few months. Back then, she was dating her childhood best friend, and I was also casually seeing someone. Nothing happened between us. We just followed each other on social media. 2 years later, we had the chance to work together again, and this time, she was single. They had broken up mutually because he moved abroad for graduate school and stayed there. I was also single, and after working together for a few months, one thing led to another. I asked her out, she said yes, and we started dating. I changed jobs shortly after because my company had strict rules about not dating employees. It's been 5 years since then, and we've been living together for 4 years, so it's far from a casual relationship. We've met each other's families. She often comes with me to my parents' house, and they love her. But this isn't mutual when it comes to Amelia's family. I still feel disconnected from her parents. They are cold and weird. She has this little tradition in her family where every year they go on vacation for a week, just the immediate family. They were strict about this. No boyfriends or girlfriends allowed. At least that's what I had always been told. She is always excited about this trip, and they've followed this tradition since they were kids. Her 2 brothers and her father weren't doing so well financially, but he made sure they went on vacation every year. They continued this tradition even after growing up and moving out, no matter where they were or what the situation was. Every year they take a trip together. When she told me about it, I was fascinated. It's rare to find such a family bond nowadays. Up until this year, I didn't care that she went on the trip and completely forgot about my existence. I gave her space to spend time with family. However, this started to bother me. I mean, our relationship has become more serious. We haven't made it official with a wedding yet, but we are planning our future together, talking about engagement, finances, and other important topics. I've been wondering why I'm still treated like a stranger. We've been together for 5 years. Shouldn't they consider me part of the family by now? A week ago, she took me to her parents' anniversary dinner where they were talking excitedly about the upcoming trip. I asked them about the details and realized they weren't telling me all the information, especially her sister. I casually asked if I could join, and they all unanimously said no, as if it was a big deal. Obviously, I felt embarrassed. Seeing how I reacted, her father tried to intervene, saying, "Don't get us wrong, you guys haven't made it official yet. Relationships today don't last long. We don't want to commit to your relationship before it's final." I understood the message he was trying to convey, but his purpose wasn't clear. I mean, what's the problem if I join and then we break up? It's not like they do something secret on these trips and then have to kill me if we break up so I don't spill the beans. I felt like they didn't want me to know the details, as if I were some kind of outsider who shouldn't know about their secret mission. Amelia was in the kitchen when this conversation happened. As soon as she returned, her sister informed her with a smug face that I wanted to join the trip. To my surprise, she got even more upset than her family. She looked at me in disbelief, as if I had committed a serious crime. I tried to justify it by saying I just asked if I could join, not that I had already packed and was waiting for her at the airport. Besides, it was a casual question. She immediately rejected it, looking genuinely surprised I had even asked, and replied, "No, you can't come. This trip is just for family. You're not part of it yet." It's one thing for her parents to say it, but another thing for my girlfriend, with whom we are discussing taking the next step, to say it. I'm not family yet? 5 years together and I'm still just an accessory to her, or something casual? I didn't say anything else because I thought it wouldn't be worth arguing with someone who thought so little of me. I would never have said something like that to her, and my parents have never treated her as if she wasn't family. In fact, they've treated her like part of the family from the very beginning. Still, this caused a huge argument at home because she felt like arguing about the matter when we got back. She accused me of ruining the dinner, which was for her parents' anniversary, because I had a long face the rest of the night. What did she expect? That I stay there and put up with their attitude? They tell me I'm not family, including her, and she expects me to sit there with a happy face while eating cake. I don't think so. But since she had brought up the trip again, I thought it was a good time to bring up some things that seemed weird about it. I found it very mysterious. What were they guarding so jealously? Did they dress in robes and worship some god I didn't know? Did I have to be initiated into this cult to go on the trip? Surprisingly, she sat down calmly and explained that it was non-negotiable family time and they didn't want their partners to divert attention from their parents. She justified that it was just a trip where the four of them gave exclusive attention to each other. To make me feel better, she added that her sister's boyfriend couldn't travel with them either. This annoyed me more because Amelia's sister has never had a stable boyfriend, which wasn't comparable to my situation. Her relationships have never lasted more than a year, and her current boyfriend has only been around for a few months. Yet I was being compared to her flings. Our fight got really ugly, and I didn't want to continue, so I went to bed. 2 days have passed, and we are not talking. She tried several times to discuss the matter, but I didn't want to get involved. The problem is, I don't feel good about this whole situation. At this point, I don't really care about the trip, but rather the way I'm being excluded. I know we aren't engaged yet, but geez, we've been together for 5 years. Doesn't that count? Apart from this, there's something else that really bothers me. Her ex's parents. Both families have been friends for decades, and her ex's parents are always part of these events. I've seen them at birthdays, family barbecues, Christmas dinners, her cousin's wedding, and even random weekend gatherings. They were more involved than me, and I'm her boyfriend. And as far as I recall, my in-laws are not married to them. It's so weird, right? I always have that uncomfortable feeling because of their presence, but she assures me that her past is over and that her family just remains friends with her ex's family, which has nothing to do with Amelia or her ex. In all these years, her ex never appeared at any of these events, and he's out of the country. Maybe that's why I didn't make a big fuss until now. I can't stop them from being friends with Amelia's parents, but I don't feel comfortable with Amelia spending time with her ex's parents. It feels a bit sick because it seems like they still haven't finished with that relationship, a relationship between Amelia and her ex, in which, by the way, there was no engagement, which is the rule that her parents and Amelia have always cited. It also doesn't help that Amelia cares very little about what I think of this, calling me ridiculous and paranoid. She says it's just a trip and that I shouldn't make a big deal out of it, but it seems like they are making the fuss because I just asked a question and they seem to go crazy. She assures me that I have nothing to worry about, but she's getting the opposite effect. I feel like I'm being manipulated. What do you guys think? Am I being crazy? Update 1. It seems I wasn't crazy. She is simply unfaithful. After participating in this community, I became convinced that I couldn't let this go. I told her I wasn't comfortable being sidelined, and that if she was truly concerned about our relationship moving forward, then she and her parents needed to start treating me better. I literally gave her an option. Either I go with them, or we're done. I didn't even want to go. I was just testing how far she was willing to go to prioritize our relationship for the sake of her stupid vacation. She called me immature and tried to manipulate the situation by turning the tables on me. I was firm, saying, "You can call me whatever you want, but I'm not going to budge." After several rounds of fighting, she finally agreed to talk to her parents about it. I thought, all right, let's see what happens next. Meanwhile, one night she left her phone unlocked and went to take a shower. I took the opportunity and snooped. I didn't have my fingerprints on her phone, but after a few tries, I guessed the lock pattern. I'm not happy that I did something like this, but I'm glad I did because I discovered something very gruesome. I went directly to her family chat group to see what she had talked about with them after our fight about the trip. She had told them that I wanted to go, and her family had freaked out. Her mother had replied, "You have to stop him. He can't come. He's going to ruin everything." At this point, the satanic cult theory was gaining more strength, and I thought maybe insisting was a bad idea. Maybe now they would use me as a sacrifice. My girlfriend told them that I was becoming a nuisance and wanted to break up if she didn't listen to me. To this, her sister said, "Good for you," with a bunch of confused emojis. I had no idea what they meant. Then there was a message where she said, "I can't do this. I'm happy with him." And her father replied, "You promised to try. Make a decision after the trip." I didn't understand the conversation completely, so I took as many photos as I could to read them later. Then, the trip itinerary that her sister had shared caught my eye. I quickly transferred it to my phone. I checked her gallery, emails, and other folders, but found nothing. I deleted all evidence that I had tampered with the phone and left it as it was. Later, after she went to sleep, I opened the trip itinerary and the hotel booking. This is where things got ugly. They had booked 5 rooms, one in her parents' name, one for Amelia, one for her sister, one for Ryan, her ex, and one for his parents. So her ex and his parents were also going on the trip, but not me. The good news is that at least it wasn't a cult, so my life wasn't at risk. But at the same time, I knew exactly what these bookings meant. If any of you haven't realized yet, my girlfriend planned to cheat on me on the trip if she hadn't already done so. And the whole family knew and was encouraging it. And no, Ryan was not engaged to Amelia, so their rule only applied to me. I know each person reacts differently to infidelity. Some people want to hit their partners, others insult them, others go far away and never see them again. I, on the other hand, shut down emotionally. I wanted to get out of the relationship at that moment, but something in me wanted to hurt her as much as I felt hurt. I decided to stay quiet and plan my revenge. We were fighting anyway, so it would be easier to act as if nothing had happened. But it wasn't easy at all. I couldn't stand seeing her face without feeling repulsion. The next day, after she left for work, I packed my things and checked into a hotel. I felt like I had already emotionally detached myself from this relationship. Yes, I had already stopped thinking about her. The way she acted regarding the trip and how she sidelined me made it easier to end it, and this truth was the final nail in the coffin. I sent her a message telling her I was going on a week-long work trip and that she could have a peaceful vacation with her family. She barely questioned it and instead responded with a loving voicemail. It was better for her that I left on my own. I lived in the hotel until she left. As soon as she went to the airport, I went back home, packed my things into storage, and returned to the hotel. For the first 4 days of her trip, I barely heard from her. No calls, just the occasional obligatory, "I miss you, honey, hope you're having a good week" text. But then, on the 5th day, she sent me a long emotional message about how much she loved me, how she couldn't wait to marry me, and how we were going to have kids. Over the next few hours, she bombarded my phone with calls and messages, the latter full of romantic texts proclaiming her fake love. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to realize that woman has no love for me. I ignored everything. It meant nothing to me. They went on vacation for 7 days, but surprisingly, on the 6th day, I received a panicked call that I happily ignored. Then she sent me this voicemail. "I'm home. Where the hell are you? Where are all your things?" She arrived a day early and was surprised to see the apartment empty. After dozens of messages and calls, I replied, "I left something for you on the kitchen counter. It wasn't a breakup letter. No, that would have been too easy and boring. It was a notice of legal action. Every cent I had spent on her, gifts, jewelry, vacations, her share of rent and utilities for a few months, I listed it all down to the damn perfume and wanted her to pay me back. I added a note saying, maybe you could ask Ryan to help you. I'm sure he won't mind." After a while, which is how long it took her to read what I left her, the next voicemail was, "Please give me a chance to explain. It's not what you think." She was crying and begging in the voicemail. After enjoying that for a bit, I replied, "Settle the debt if you have any self-respect. I know I can't legally claim that money, but emotionally, I definitely can." She boasts about being an independent woman who can pay her own bills. Sure, here we go. Pay what you owe me. She begged me to listen to her once before deciding anything, but I blocked her and told her, "I've already said everything I wanted to say and will only respond to emails related to the money you owe me from now on. Let's make this a professional relationship, because ours hardly resembles a sentimental one." After a week, she sent an email saying she couldn't pay everything at once and needed time. I replied, "Maybe you should work overtime or find a better job. So many vacations and you've neglected your career." Then there was silence for a few days. However, 2 days ago, she sent me all the money she owed me, and I suddenly feel rich. You know what I'm going to do with that money? I'm going to the Maldives. The amount covers a week-long luxury trip to a private island resort. You can't imagine how happy and free I feel. Not only will I be going on vacation, but it won't be a vacation with my ex or her family, which is a double prize. My new vacation is still a month away. I couldn't pay for a last-minute ticket with what Amelia returned to me, but I can wait a while to go on the trip. I know she expects us to talk now that she's returned the money because she thinks that will soften me up and I'll be more willing to have a conversation. I may have told her I'd think about it to get the money, but I never promised I would. She knows about my trip, so I don't expect to hear from her until after I get back. Update 2. Here's an update on this with some clarification. I'm not proud of everything I said or did, but after all the low insults she threw at me, I can't say I'm completely regretful either. I'm not the type of person who mistreats someone, but I'm also not the kind of man who stays quiet and accepts nonsense. I don't feel proud of what I told her, but she wasn't a saint either. After returning from my vacation, I had a visit at my office. Yes, it was Amelia. She had been waiting to have this conversation, but she was blocked, and I was more concerned about my trip than talking to an unfaithful person. So she came to my workplace where I had no choice but to meet with her. I wanted to kick her out, but she begged me to have one last talk. Apparently, she wanted to confess something. Perhaps having this last talk would serve us both to end this. What I discovered was the cherry on top of my revenge. First, she confessed how she managed to pay what I demanded since she didn't have much money, much less after paying for her family trip. She had to take out a loan, although I don't think this is the important part. But what comes next? According to her, the truth was that her ex had returned to the city after being away, and her parents had insisted that she consider him again. He had returned from another country successful and with a career he had built, so he was perfect for her parents. Her parents organized the trip so she could clear her thoughts and decide between us. Her parents are friends, so everyone thought it was best for Amelia to be with her ex. Can you imagine what kind of family they are? She and her parents used me while her ex was away, and now that he's back, she's reconsidering. I understand that she can be with whoever she wants, and if she wanted to leave me to go back with her ex, that was her right. But she doesn't have the right to lie to me and be unfaithful. At least she owed me a conversation before, not after the fact. She tried to blame everything on her parents, saying they were the ones who manipulated her into giving her ex a chance. But she also went on the trip, so she must have thought it was a good idea to give him a chance even though she was in a relationship with me. Still, that doesn't matter now. I replied, "Okay, why are you so desperate to confess this to me? You did what you did, and that's it." She wanted to assure me that nothing happened between them, that they were just talking and figuring out if they could rekindle their relationship. In her words, yes, I lied, but I didn't cheat. Why? Because they didn't have sex? Sure, maybe there was no sex, but the situation isn't much better, and believing a woman like her is something I can't do. I laughed in her face and told her, "Are you joking? You went on vacation with your ex and you're saying nothing happened? You want me to believe this nonsense? How old do you think I am?" She cried and confessed, "I swear it was just a kiss. I thought about you the whole time. After being with him, I realized how loving and attentive you are. I never wanted to hurt you. I realized on that trip that I love you." Lieutenant, she realized she loved me on the 5th day of the trip. Was she thinking about me during the trip or during the kiss? So many questions, and she was doing such a disservice to getting the relationship back. I wasn't thinking about getting back with her even before she gave me her version, but her version was making things even worse. Then she told me something that explained everything. On the 5th day, she was surprised to see her sister kissing Ryan. That was what triggered the sudden message of love for me and how she discovered how much she loved me. Not guilt, not loyalty, just the fact that her ex was probably already sleeping with her own sister. The message wasn't because she loved me, but because she had lost her first option and now wanted the second option, simple, loyal, and reliable. The problem is, she had already lost her second option before going on the trip, and she also lost the first one. The funny thing is that her sister and Ryan justified that it was just a casual kissing session since Amelia wasn't engaged to him yet. Yes, In that family, engagements and kissing work differently from the rest of the world. Can you imagine how twisted all this is? Ryan promised her he would be loyal to her once she left me and got back with him. Until then, he had needs that her sister was satisfying. The weird thing is that her sister also has a boyfriend who has no idea what was going on during these family vacations. At least to me, this whole thing seems very funny, maybe because I'm seeing it from a distance. She begged me to give her one last chance because of the 5 long years of our relationship. I asked her, "Did you honor the relationship? If you had, you wouldn't have accepted your parents' advice about getting back with your ex. You would have told me the moment your parents suggested the idea, but you hid everything from me. I'm not buying your nonsense about being forced or tricked. Are you a 5-year-old? You did everything with full awareness. You've made your decision, and I've made mine." She started crying and begged me to forget everything and start over. I told her, "It's too late. That ship has sailed." She grabbed my hands and asked me to forgive her. I told her I needed to get back to work, and that was that. When she left, I wondered why she wanted to get back with me. She could happily go back to her ex, right? I contacted her sister's boyfriend and told him everything. The guy came to see me and said he also found this whole trip thing very weird. The way they kept it a secret made it sound suspicious. He also thought they might be a cult, but just like me, he always thought of it as a joke. Not that he seriously believed it. Now we know the reason. The guy had no idea his girlfriend was sleeping with her sister's ex-boyfriend, or at least that's what we thought. He thanked me and said he was going to break up with her immediately. I told him, "Dude, run as fast as you can. I don't know what will happen with this guy, but if he can get out of that lunatic family, I think he'll be better off. Besides, I don't think I ruined things too much for him because Amelia's sister doesn't usually keep boyfriends for long." Update 3. A few weeks later, I received a call from the man who was Amelia's sister's boyfriend. He informed me that Amelia's sister and Ryan are now officially dating. Wow, they've been fast. I feel bad for the guy because I laughed when he told me, but in my defense, how twisted they are in that family is quite funny. And no, I didn't laugh at him, just at the situation. I wonder if their parents are happy or mad about this. I guess I'll never know. I can only imagine Amelia's misery, going from 2 options to 0 because she cheated on her boyfriend and has a sister with loose morals. To this day, I think asking the question at dinner was the best thing that happened because it unmasked the whole affair and brings us here now. At least, this is the end of my saga of my girlfriend's family that I thought was a cult. Edit. I think I have the answer to the question I asked in this update, thanks to having mutual friends with Amelia and her sister. Some posts from the former in-laws have appeared, a photo where Ryan, Amelia's sister, and the parents are all in the same photo, and the parents look happy. The weird thing is that Amelia isn't in the photo or any others they posted, so I think the parents are happy to have Ryan in the family while Amelia isn't happy at all that her parents are happy. But I'm happy, because karma is so beautiful.